Welcome to a special episode of STADIO Speaks, where we celebrate World Teachers Month by highlighting the future voices of educators. I'm your host, Kanyisa, and today we have two extraordinary guests, Carla and Micaela, fourth-year students at the Centurion campus for STADIO Higher Education. Get ready to explore the significance of teaching, the impact they hope to make, and the lessons they've learned along the way. Join us as we celebrate World Teachers Month by acknowledging the bright future of education, represented by Carla and Micaela. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence, ladies. So let's jump straight into it. You can start by telling us a little bit about yourselves.
Okay, my name is Carla and I am recently engaged and getting married next year. Super excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And I'm the fourth that I know of generation that's doing teaching.
Lovely.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Micaela Director. I am a fourth-year student and I am the first teacher in my family. Actually, the first one to get a degree in my family.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. Looking forward to ending and finding my career path. Yeah.
Lovely. Why do you believe studying education is becoming so important in this generation?
I think education forms the foundation for, I feel, every career that we ever pursue is without teachers, none of us would be here, honestly. So I think teachers really help us find our qualities, what we're good at, what we're interested in, and then we can then get to know ourselves better and make an informed decision about which career we would like to take.
And what qualification are you currently studying?
Foundation phase teaching.
And Carla, what qualification are you studying?
I'm doing the same as Micaela.
Same as Micaela.
Yes,
okay,
also
perfect.
foundation phase.
Tell me how you see your role shaping the lives of students or contributing in society, specifically, obviously, studying teaching.
Okay, so I'm with the foundation phase, so those are the little ones. With them, you really need to be patient with them. So I feel because a lot of the times at home, there isn't really a parent that might be patient, and being a teacher, it gives the learner the chance to grow, because at home they're always pressured, and not all homes, some, they're always pressured, and if a teacher can be patient with them, that teaches them that they can become what they want to become. They won't be forced into doing something that they don't want to do.
Tell me why you chose to study foundation phase specifically.
So, in my personal opinion, with the grown learners, I found some of them being very disrespectful, and I won't be able to handle that at all. And with the little ones, I just enjoy them a lot more as well, because they are so innocent still, and you can joke around with them, and they're not judging at all. So we did teaching practice already in our previous years, and the looks that I got from some of the older kids, what I wore, you just see them giving me that evil eye. So I won't be able to do that. And the little ones, they're so cute. Why don't you want to teach them? Yeah.
And Micaela, why did you choose to do foundation phase?
I think a lot to do with their innocence, also how forgiving they are of your mistakes, you know? Like Carla said, they don't judge you. So as long as they see, oh, you're someone who cares for them, and then they will, and if you love them, they'll love you 10 times more. So it's a very safe environment. If you create a safe environment for them, you'll be surprised, the environment, what you get from them is actually way more than what you could give for them, you know, because they're just so open to loving and caring for you. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Micaela, how does it feel to actually be exposed to being in an environment like a classroom where you can actually start practicing teaching? I think you guys do it from first year, correct?
Yes. So we started, our teaching practice was supposed to be in 2020, and we all know that was when lockdown hit us. So unfortunately, we missed out on teaching practice in the first year. But then we got to do it the next year, and it really exposes us to the practical side of things. it's completely different from the theory that we learn, because the theory paints like this perfect picture, like this is how a classroom is supposed to be. And I think being exposed to the classroom at such a early stage, you know, before graduating, really helps you to put that theory into practice, and you just become aware of everything you were taught during those like modules and stuff. And it helps to strengthen your knowledge as well, because then when you practice something, it like sticks with you forever. So I think it was very enriching for us to start teaching practice and have it like accompany our module and theory learning as well.
Carla, what are some of the challenges that you faced in the classroom during your teaching practice experiences?
So we had a variety of challenges. So I decided to go to 3 different types of schools. So I went to like a private school in English, a normal department school, and then Afrikaans department school. So the private school that I went to, it was actually not too bad because we were only like 16 kids in the class, if that. So that was not as challenging, but what I saw at that school specifically is there's 3 grade 3 classes. I was in grade 3 class, and all of them have a different personality. So it was quite, so I was in the one class and then I had to go to another class for a week for a reason. And you have to look at the class first before you can do a lesson. So my problem was I did a lesson, so my class, they were a little bit more up on the scale, and then the other class they were a little bit lower. So I did a lesson for that class that based on that previous class, and it went right over their heads. So you really need to first see the personalities that you have in your class before you can present your lessons, because if you do that, it's not going to work. And with the English department school I went to, there were about 45 kids in the class, so that was a huge change. My teacher, unfortunately, she got sick for a week. So I was the only one in that class, and I started off being super kind, I was nice and everything, and that week that the teacher was not there, all hell broke loose because their teacher weren't there. They did not listen to me at all. There was a time where I stood in class, like my hand on the table, and I was like, I'm gonna cry. Like this is just, it's too much. Because
kids will test your patience,
They do not listen, they ignored me completely. Like I would tell them, please be quiet, they look at me, and then they just continue. They're grade 3. No, those were grade 2. So it was hectic. So at least by the next year, that was this year, at the beginning of the year, I learned at the beginning, be strict first, because then at least they recognize your authority. And you really need to like begin with that. And also some of the lessons I felt a bit like unprepared. And if you're unprepared, the learners see that you're unprepared.
And then they take advantage.
Yes, they can really see, like, if you don't know what's going on, they take advantage of that. They can see it, so you need to be prepared. If you're not prepared, you have to face the consequences then.
Micaela, tell me what some of your most valuable lessons or insights that you've gained so far.
I can actually carry on from where Carla finished, that about being strict from the get-go, because I think we're similar. I think all foundation phase teachers are soft-hearted, so we all want to be kind and we sort of want to be like on the children's good side. So we all start like that, and I had to learn the hard way as well. You have to be strict from that first day, and then like set that high standard of what you expect in your classroom. And then slowly you can like start like accommodating them as well, and then like ease the, not get rid of the rules, but like allow for some fun in the classroom. But it's very important to start with that strictness. Anyway, another challenge I found was that you have to know your staff. Like you think they're small children and you can just if you don't like master a concept or something, like you are familiarized with it, that they won't notice. But you'll be surprised, like you can see like some of the children, like their questioning looks like, does this teacher know what she's saying?
They're a lot smarter than you think.
They are, and like people don't know that actually in foundation phase, children are quite mature for their age. Another thing was classroom management. Oh, everything that we struggle with, and that like don't allow, like, because now we're taught that we don't want children to be super uptight behind desks, you know, not moving around. We want them to interact, move around, like as long as they're learning. So now it's very hard, like, especially for me, coming from that background where we are expected to just sit down and work. And I was always that child that was sitting down and working. So I wasn't really one to move around. So now for me to try and understand those students that want to walk around while they learn, it was a bit challenging as well, like getting the balance between like having fun, but also having boundaries, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that was my biggest challenge, was classroom management, but I realized like, let the fun carry on, like let them be free. But once you start, as time goes by, you start like picking up when it's getting out of hand, then you just call their attention back, like just remind them, I'm still here and this is class, you know, this is not the playground. So I think for me, the biggest challenge was classroom management.
Yeah.
Also time management as well.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of work to be done. And if you don't finish in time, you are far behind. Even if it's just one lesson and you fall just behind on that one, your whole day is ruined completely. And the kids can then realize that stress that you have, and that also works them up.
Yeah, and also confidence. You have to be confident of yourself. If you're not confident, then the children become so unsure of whether they can trust you, like what you're teaching.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like, yeah. So it's like, then it's like it affects the learning in the classroom. So you have to be confident. That's why you have to be well equipped, like in your knowledge about the topic that you're teaching.
Can you maybe share a memorable experience of the interactions that you've gained? Like maybe you had a student, like, you know, touch your heart. Any type of those experiences happen yet in your classrooms?
So not specifically at my teaching practice. So I'm also a substitute teacher.
Okay.
So I substituted actually at a special needs school, and that completely changed it for me. Like I've just did my 4 years of foundation phase, and now I just want to do special needs. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I had this one learner in my class. So she's about 13 years old, but her mind is of like a 6-year-old. She was the cutest thing I've ever met. She just came every time she had to go to occupational therapy or stuff. She had a lot of therapies that she had to go through throughout the day. Every time she left the class, she came to me, gave me a hug, and then she left. Like from the get-go, she started that. And so there were assistant teachers in the class as well. So they told me that does not happen. Like she doesn't just.
So she really had a liking to you.
Yeah. So she just came, gave me a hug, leave, and then as soon as it's finished, she came back into class, gave me a hug, then she went to go sit down. So small things like that, like just getting hugs from learners, it's so cute, and it really warms your heart as well. But yeah, unfortunately, we also have like our bad, memorable things that you kind of have to learn from as well. So we had one learner at the beginning of the year where I was. We had one learner, so they had to write a story about their weekend, right? One good thing that happened, one bad thing that happened, and he started out his story about his cousin came to visit, and he was super excited. But unfortunately, my mom and dad told me they're getting divorced. And
Oh no.
Okay.
How do you handle that?
So I was marking the books. Because I'm the student that always give the students with the grant work of it. So I was marking the book, and he had to write that. And I saw his story, and I almost started crying in the class. I had to like take a second, and then I without looking at him so that he doesn't know that I'm marking his book, I was like, Mom, just look at the story. Like I didn't look sad or anything. She's like, Ma'am, and she saw it, and then she called him and asked him, are you okay? She just read your story, are you okay? And he just burst. He sat on her lap and he just cried. It was extreme, because there's not much that you can do except try to cheer him up. Because it's not like you can talk to the parents about it, because it is something that is happening. You can't block a kid from that. But I think his friends also like saw that he's not well, so all of them also tried cheering him up. Like one of the kids even bought him a chocolate or something. And they would all just like bring him closer, play with him. Yeah, because he was also more of like an odd one out in the class as well. So he didn't really have a lot of friends, but like it's that whole class just like was like a magnet to him. They just played with him, and the whole day was so fun. Like he didn't even think about it.
That's so heartwarming and beautiful to watch, right?
Yes, yeah, shame.
Micaela, do you have a mentor or a teacher that kind of inspired you to get into the field of teaching or to be an educator?
So I started out my teaching journey not on the, like not wanting to be a teacher, but I was more interested in children's development. So that's why I was drawn to teaching. And I never gave it like proper thought, you know, on why I wanted to be a teacher. I just knew I was interested in children's development. And then in my third year, I had a mentor teacher the second half of the year, the second semester, and she had studied teaching and occupational therapy. So she was phenomenal. She went beyond teaching. Like she would focus on the learner's development, like over all aspects. And like even her teaching style, she was the first teacher I met that, or mentored under, that incorporated group rotations, and normally teachers shy away from that method of teaching because the class can get rowdy. But her classroom management was impeccable, and she was a grade 1 teacher. She really like focused on their personal development, and those learners really thrived. Like there was even a boy in her class who was considered a genius. And like it was just amazing, like to see like even their maturity for grade 1s, like the way they would care for one another. It was, wow, it was amazing. Like, yeah. So there was one thing that she told me was that as soon as you enter the classroom, you forget about everything that goes on outside. Like you forget about your personal life. You just focus on the children in the classroom. And I would literally see her like in the corridor. She'd be walking and you can see like she's going through a lot, because we would talk. She's going through a lot. But as soon as she entered the classroom, she puts on this bright smile and she's like, hello grade 1s, how are you? And she forgets about herself. And I thought that was very admirable. And so now I realize like she is someone that stood out to me, like even all my years of schooling as well, my schooling career, she is the one teacher that stood out to me. Yeah.
Carla, what in your opinion are the qualities that make like an exceptional teacher?
So you have your basic qualities like patience, and you have to have self-control as well over your feelings, especially. Just like she said with that other teacher, like if you're going through a bad day, don't show it, because the learners will see it, even though you think they won't, except if she's as good as Micaela's mentor teacher. You have to be creative, because the kids, they want you to be creative, otherwise they're going to be bored and they're not going to listen to what you're saying, especially when it comes to mathematics, because the learners, they immediately have this whole mindset of mathematics is bad, it sucks, they don't want to do it ever. So you have to also get that excitement for your class as well, like be excited about math. Like there's so many things that you could do. You can like make a song and show them how excited you are, let's go do math, and then the kids get excited with you. So if you
build up the excitement for them to be able to concentrate and want to do the subject that you actually teach.
Yes.
I think what I can think of is to be able to think on your feet.
Yes.
Because you don't know what the day is gonna hold, you know.
That's true.
And there are so many different personalities in your classroom, like even more so the bigger your classroom is, and you are one person, and you have to accommodate all their needs and face these challenges every day, but you have to still stay on track with the workload, you know, what you want to teach them for the day. So I think thinking on your feet, and sometimes knowing that, okay, I can't now be silly and like force them to finish this work when, let's say this one's crying, this one broke their arm, and like there's just a whole disruptions to the classrooms.
And flexible.
Yes, because like there will never be a perfect day. You know, and also now schools are including more extracurricular during the school day, so that's also interrupting the teaching time. So also not to like put that pressure on yourself and your learners to we need to get this done, because no learning will happen like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What are your aspirations and goals as you work towards becoming a teacher?
So like I mentioned, I'm very much interested in children's development.
Yes.
And I think that for me, the classroom was a very good place for me to start, like being exposed to children and what their needs are. And like I mentioned, that mentor teacher as well, she also like inspired me to go now into occupational therapy.
So that's your next move?
Yes, it is. So just to accommodate like learners of every aspect, like not just education-wise, but health-wise as well, and then nutrition-wise, you know. So I'm really, that is my aspiration, just to like help children develop into their best potential.
Yeah. So you recently formed part of the panel at the STADIO Academic Conference on AI. What role does AI play in your studies, and how do you see it working in the future of classrooms?
Okay, with my studies, it's basically finished. We only have about 2 exams left.
So you're so excited.
Yes, we can't wait. Like, we're already planning to go to Gold City and celebrate. We can't wait. Hopefully it just happens, because we've been planning things the whole time. It just doesn't happen. But in the classroom, so with our learners that we have now, or by the time as well, like next year, they all grow up with technology. So you have to bring it into the class. It's not like if you want to like do it, it's like you have to, because the learners, they grow up with it. Like, they're not going to listen to you or like be active in what you're teaching them if they can't physically see what they're doing. So with AI, you have so many variation of things that you can do with them. Like, you have the online games that you can do. We even in one of our modules created an online game where we incorporated SpongeBob into it, and it was so fun. Even our students, even for us, it was so much fun. Even for the students that was just like watching us, that was like the kids in the class, it was so much fun. So it's applicable to all of the ages. So it's not just with foundation phase that we're doing, it's for all of the grades, like from grade R all the way to grade 12. If you incorporate things like that, it's going to be successful. I think especially with mathematics as well. So with English and Afrikaans, you do have your fun ways of doing it. So there is like applications on your phone that you can download, or on your laptop, where you can have like sound effects for your voice and stuff. But with mathematics more specifically, you can teach the learners a lot more fun ways to learn their maths. Like, you need to keep your technology in the class. Don't just do it because you're not good at it. Learn to do it.
Learn to do it.
Yes.
Continue the lifestyle that they're actually just living with, basically.
Yes, because if they don't understand it, it's not gonna work out. And also, now you don't do technology, and then the teacher next year, they do it, and then the kids are gonna be lost. They won't understand the way of teaching. So I think that's also important for schools. Like, they need to make sure all of the teachers are on the same level with their technology.
What message of encouragement would you like to share with fellow education students and those who may be considering a career in teaching during this World Teachers Month?
I think you have to have the passion for it. So many of them dropped out because they thought doing teaching is such an easy thing, that they'll do it and then is it just an easy degree? And it's not. We have really difficult subjects, and you have to have the passion for teaching kids, because they are a lot. They're small minds. They need to learn a lot. They are full of energy. They're going to be everywhere. They're energetic. So you need to have that passion. If you don't have the passion, you're not helping yourself, and you're definitely not helping the learners.
I think I would also have to say, you need to have a heart for children.
Yeah.
You can't just go into it haphazardly. You really need to be interested in their learning, in their development, and then if you have that is your foundation, then you will be interested in wanting to learn more. Like, how can I help them, you know, because some of our modules is psychology, and it's tough. Lots of us complain about it, but it teaches us how to understand children's thinking, like getting down to their level. So that's why both of us, and I can vouch for the rest of us in
Yes.
our program, that we would also have a heart for children, have a heart for their learning and their development, have their best interests in mind, you know, and then you will be the best teacher you could ever be.
Who was your inspiration?
I have to think about this. I think I keep going back to that same
teacher.
because I think a lot of her values were in line with mine.
Okay.
Like I remember, funny enough, that same year, I had a terrible time the first semester, and I thought it was just because I didn't know what it was, but I wasn't enjoying teaching practice. And then like I started, terrible of me, but I started comparing like the different teaching styles of the teacher, and I realized I actually agreed more with the second teacher.
Carla, who was your inspiration?
So I actually had a high school teacher, so he gave me tourism. So he was the best teacher. Everyone loved him.
Yeah.
So he would be one of those teachers that would be so full of energy and so excited about that day that he would just make you feel better. Like there was a day that I really was not doing well at all, and I just got into his class, and just going to his class, he wasn't even there even yet, and immediately I was just like, as soon as I walked into class, I was like, I'm here, I'm fine, just because I was there. But one thing that I really liked about him or respected from him is he like kind of commanded respect in his class. Like you had to have respect. If you walked into his class, you don't just give him something and then just walk away. You have to go into his class, say hello, how are you? And it really taught a lot of the students that we had a lot of manners, because I know there's so many households as well now that they don't really teach proper manners anymore, and he was really strict on that, and that taught me a lot. Like he really taught me a lot.
Thank you so much for spending time with us and joining us on our podcast. We look forward to having chats with students and get to hear what their stories are all about and what their experiences are. You know, at the end of the day, we are a tertiary institution, so it's for the students, by the students, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this special episode of STADIO Speaks, celebrating World Teachers Month. If you're inspired by their journey and the significance of teaching, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and share it with others who share your passion for education. Until next time, I'm Kanyisa, signing off. Wishing you a fulfilling World Teachers Month and aspiring journey ahead.